Hello, thank you for joining me today for my presentation on how to manage stress. My name is Jim Moltzen, and I've been practicing and teaching mindful-based stress reduction exercises for probably 40 years or so. I started when I was 16 and just turned 60 recently. So let's continue and get into this. I think most people these days are familiar with the fact that there's a lot of stress and anxiety and depression that people are experiencing, and specifically children, high school students are feeling like they have quite a bit of stress. As the slide shows from a survey from 2021, that about 42% of students that were surveyed felt that they're constantly feeling, sadness or hopelessness as they try to make it through their day. And then another third of the population of young adults seems to just have, poor mental health in general. Also showing up in this survey was that more than 22% of students have seriously considered, taking their lives and suicide. 1 in 10 have actually attempted suicide. So this isn't really positive type of conversation to have, but it's definitely something serious and important that we need to address. So over the last decade or so, more people have been experiencing stress than ever in years past. And it's become even more of an issue with young adults, high school students. So I got to ask you, what do you feel stressed about right now? Do you have exams coming up or deadlines, different social activities that you need to worry about? Performance for sports or performing in the band. These are all different things that are, typically daily activities throughout your life, especially while you're being in school, but how much of them are causing, stress beyond what would just be considered, normal day-to-day activities. So this slide shows a bit of a graphical presentation about what demographic of individuals feel that they're experiencing stress on a regular daily basis. A certain amount of stress is normal for everybody to have in their life. That's how you grow and become stronger individuals from it. But what we're talking about is unnecessary stress that either is being put upon individuals or individuals take on the stress not realizing how much it's affecting them. So this chart again comes from the CDC, who has quite a bit of information available from over the years with this survey that they conducted. And as you can see, aside from gender between males and females, there's an increase in stress. Different ethnicities have all increased their amount of stress. Just pretty much everybody in general. So this graph gives us a good explanation or a good visual presentation of such. So what I'm trying to do is show some good sources of information here to give a much more focused presentation of exactly what's going on as far as stress with high school students. And this chart's kind of like a stoplight, if you would. Have the things that are going well would be a green light, like go ahead. Things that are yellow, obviously there's going to be some caution towards those areas. And the areas that are red, just like a stoplight, means we need to stop. And most of these things, you can see an increase from 2011 up until 2021 are trending upward as an increase of persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness, seriously considered attempted suicide, individuals having a suicide plan, and actually people attempting suicide. So this is why it's so important to learn how to take care of your own stress and self-regulate your thoughts and emotions. Mental stress also affects our physical health and well-being. Our thoughts and emotions affect our nervous system. Our nervous system is what manages the chemicals that flow into our blood that affect our organ function. So whatever we're thinking, whatever our emotions are doing, that's going to definitely affect our organs. And with the organs, now you're getting into how there's heart disease and cardiometabolic diseases and type 2 diabetes and obesity and so many other types of physical ailments that come about all from how we manage our thoughts and emotions. So let's come back to stress. This graphic gives us a bit of a gauge or a way of thinking about how much stress we actually have. So 0 would be, like right now I have no stress at all, everything's great. All the way to the opposite end of 10, being extremely stressed, like I have so much I need to do and get done, there's just no time. So sometimes you might find yourself throughout the day at different ends of the scale. You're not always at 0 of having no stress, you're not always at being extremely stressed. And again, that goes into understanding that you do have stress that comes with life. That is given, that's going to happen throughout the course of your, life. You just don't want to be always in the number 10 spot here. So now we move on to the importance ruler. How important is it to you to be able to manage your stress? Is it something that you don't think about whatsoever? Maybe somewhat, a little bit, you get some stress throughout the day and you realize it and then you just don't really do much about it? Or is it extremely important? You're aware of it and you're trying to find ways that you can manage your stress on a regular basis. So here is our confidence ruler. How confident do you feel that you are able to manage your stress? All the way from 0, where you have no idea what you're doing and you're feeling like you have no resources, nobody's helping, nobody can listen to you, or all the way to the other end where you have coping mechanisms and exercises and techniques and methods that'll help you make it through having your regular stresses of the day. So as we start to discuss the idea of you having stress and being able to measure it and have some awareness of where you're at on those scales between having none at all and having quite a bit of control or what we call agency over your health and well-being, we come to this next topic, which is how are you motivated? Are you motivated from other people, your parents, your teachers, your peers? They're the ones that basically influence your day-to-day decisions, or are you the one that's in charge of how you're being motivated? Are you doing things because you see it as fun or for your individual growth, your self-expression, your enjoyment, having a sense of purpose? These are all different things to think about when it comes to, actually why you're even in this group, why you're coming here. Is it something that you want to do because you see yourself needing to be able to manage your own stress? Or is it something that somebody's pointing you in the direction to come here? Again, your parents, your teachers, your peers, they might be the ones that see that, you're in some sort of distress and need some type of help. This slide introduces everybody to the idea of SMART goals, which is a acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals. So it's an outline. In order to achieve our goals, we got to have a plan, not just saying we have a plan, but actually having something that we can, put down on paper or be able to see these goals. A key component of this whole presentation and the intervention of being able to better self-regulate stress is the Transtheoretical Model, also known as TTM. It encourages the individual to be able to change their behavior over time, where they adjust the pros and cons of each step in order to either move forward in the process or stay neutral or move behind. So this is pertinent in order to make the individual be able to match the stage that they're at with their level of readiness to change their behavior. This theoretical model also encourages the individual to have self-efficacy, where they have more control and agency over the behavior that shapes their health and well-being. Within the Transtheoretical Model, there are key constructs. With these constructs, there's the different components that are used in order to change behavior over time. The first of these key constructs is the stages of change, which I will go over in more detail in the next slide, but it's basically a nonlinear path where of 5 different stages, an individual might drop into any one of them in order to either move forward or backward towards their behavioral change. The next construct is the decision of balance, which is weighing the pros and cons of each phase or each stage of the behavior in order to feel that they're getting benefits from it and they move on to the next step. Or if they're not getting benefits, they either stay where they're at or they discontinue the whole process. The third construct is the self-efficacy, or the ability to build up the self-esteem and attitude to say, I can do this. I'm in charge of my health and well-being, and I can make changes as I see necessary. The fourth construct is the processes of change, which is where we weigh the different behavioral changes against the experiential behaviors, as far as starting off with thinking about all these different things that you want to do and eventually moving to the phase of doing the things that are going to make you change your behavior. So the stages of change are as listed. The first one is the pre-contemplation, where you're not really even thinking about making a change. You know, for this particular instance with stress and stress management, an individual might not even be thinking about it, where they might be experiencing stress, but they're not necessarily aware that they're experiencing it. The next step would be contemplation, where they're thinking about it, and that might be where everybody that would be in the room for this presentation would be, because you've already had prior knowledge of what the presentation would be about. So you decided that you're going to come and see more about it. So you're thinking about it. The third step would be preparation, where a blueprint, or like earlier in the earlier slides, the SMART goals, you're making a plan to prepare for what you're going to do in order to make the changes of your behavior. The fourth step is action, where you're implementing the blueprint or implementing the plans in order to reach your goals. The fifth step is maintenance, where you've been doing the behavior. Typically it would be for about 3 months in order to see some type of real change in behavior that's going to last. For the purpose of this presentation, the intervention was based upon 8 weeks, where an individual would come to the sessions 3 times a week for 8 weeks and try to get to a point where they can maintain their own, thoughts and emotions and relative behavior. The sixth step is termination. That's where pretty much the habit is in place. It is your behavior. You don't need to continue to be focusing on all the prior changes. It's basically the way you live your life, and that's your lifestyle with that behavior moving forward. This slide is the last one for the Transtheoretical Model. I think it's a bit complicated. It delves into more specifically the experiential behavior changes and the behavioral, actually doing the work to make the changes in your behavior. If you have further questions on this, I would suggest we meet afterwards or have a separate discussion on this, because I do find it to be a little bit more complex than the rest of the presentation. Here's a list of some very effective self-regulation type management techniques for managing stress. So we had physical exercise, meditation, adjustment of your diet, practice of skillful activities, and also at the bottom of this list I have medications. But my favorite, and what I found to have worked the best for managing my stress, is at the bottom there, mindfulness-based stress reduction techniques and exercises. So what exactly is mindful-based stress reduction techniques? This slide shows a list of some of the components, where the first one there is various breathing techniques, where you learn how to breathe from your diaphragm, also known as belly breathing, where the more you're breathing deeply, you're adjusting your own nervous system so as to slow down your thoughts and emotions. When you're breathing deeply, it also starts to adjust your nervous system. So again, the organs start to function properly. Instead of responding to stress, when you're breathing deeply, your nervous system starts to respond to being relaxed. The next thing down is meditation exercises, which there's a wide range of movements from sitting in a chair to standing upright to where you're physically walking, actually walking and doing yoga type exercises. Those are all different types of meditations also, which yoga is the third one down on the list. The very bottom is group dialogue. We're just starting to share in a social setting how you manage stress, share with others what works for you and what doesn't work for you. These are just a couple of the mindful-based stress reduction techniques that are available. So again, coming back to the mindful-based stress reduction exercises, here's a list of the benefits of what can come from it. Stress management. Again, that's the main thing that we're talking about here with this presentation. Depression, high blood pressure, which is hypertension, cancer, and other disorders too, sleeping disorders, anxiety, chronic pain, diabetes. These are all different things that can be managed from managing your stress. One of the best things that can come from the mindful-based stress reduction exercises is that there's little risk that you're going to injure yourself by doing anything. It's not going to hurt you, and all that can come from it, at the very least, is that you're going to have more control, more agency over managing your own thoughts and emotions. And from there, physical pain that might come from stress, or just in general, enhancing the quality of your day-to-day life. Just to wrap up this presentation, I wanted to hit some of the previous points that I had talked about earlier. One of the most important components to this whole intervention is the Transtheoretical Model, which can be a very effective option for some people in order to better regulate their stressful thoughts, emotions, and behaviors and relative actions. Mindful-based stress reduction can be practiced almost anywhere, anytime, by anybody. It's very easy to do discreetly, where people don't even notice that you're managing your own breathing and thereby managing your nervous system. Always try to remember that help is available. There are people out there that really do care and will take the time to help others, regardless of what sometimes you might have experienced or hear or see. There are definitely some people out there that do care about other people. So thank you for viewing this, and be well, be safe, take care.